Hey guys. Uh, I want to do a show on UFOs tonight. I had so much fun doing my tarot readings tonight. I just did two signs, Virgo and Capricorn. They're on my other channel. It is so weird. I can't believe I didn't start doing this sooner. I guess because I was so suppressed for so long. I grew up with such a conservative Christian family, and like, you always have so many people like, you know, tarot and astrology is the devil, but they're like supporting all kinds of weird creeps out there and watch shows of nudity and soft porn and the stuff they'll justify, right? And then the other stuff that's like so evil. Whatever. Well, I'm like, if only they knew how much ancient Israel did what modern people would call magic and stuff. And all the astrology they knew. And I could go on, all right? But that's not what the show's about. But, I know when I was very, very young, I had a friend's grandmother say that I was a natural channel. And I was like, what does that mean? And she even told me, she said, if you don't embrace your gift, it's going to come out too strong in your kids. And if you do, it'll help. But it's come on both sides of your family. And if they suppress it, it gets too strong in a kid. And sure enough, I had a lot of imbalances when I was young. And I'll tell you, like, my son has prophetic dreams quite a bit, my daughter has her own gifts too. But anyway, I was still longing and waiting for the days, guys, that someone in this area, in the Ouachita or Ozark Mountains or somewhere, will want me to come and channel their paranormal investigations. Like, I wanted to go on paranormal investigations. Not many people do it around here, which is ridiculous because there's so many haunted places, right? Fort Smith, Hot Springs, everywhere in between, you name it. But finding people who will do it, there's like a few groups and they're kind of like snobby and like, oh, well, we're full, we don't need more people and stuff. And I was like, well, good for you. Nobody asked, right? I'm sure people did. But I'm just saying, like, I'm not gonna ask. It's like, if you want me, I'm there. But, I'm not gonna sit here and beg because I want to make sure we're a good mesh anyway. But I want to channel stuff. Like, I don't need the equipment. I don't need the, you know, what do you call those things? The stuff. I just do it. We. I can relate to Lorraine Warren. I legit became a realtor because I wanted to read houses. It didn't work out. I never got to go in enough houses. So I gave up on that one. But here's the thing is when I channel, like, I get energized. Like, I actually feel better. It's so weird. And when I started doing the readings, when I start channeling spirit, I feel good. I feel alive. And I know having chronic sickness for so long, like, it's because I was suppressing my gift, right? But I want to talk about UFOs because I've seen a few since I moved up here. And I knew it was for a reason. Like, I've moved around a lot in my life, and I know it's all for reasons. I have different experiences in every place, It's amazing how haunted Galveston was. I love it. It's weird how when I lived in Northeast Texas, I saw two different cryptids, which I want to do a video on that. And then up here, I've seen UFOs and with witnesses. So that's nice. It's like, it's not like I'm crazy. It's just me, right? The first one we saw, oh, this is so wild. Okay. We were all outside, had a little campfire going, and, so we see, I saw it. Both times I saw it first, which is weird, but I saw like this light come over the trees, and it looked like a helicopter. It was that low, and I was like, guys, look at that. It looks like a helicopter, but there's no sound, right? And I had two other people with me. One was my daughter, and they walk over and they start watching. We're just watching it. That's it. And it just keeps coming closer and closer. And the first thing I was thinking of was, I do not want to get probed. Like, I do not want to get probed. I am going to freaking run in the house. And it starts going up higher and higher. And it legit goes into the stars. It was that low. Like it was so low, we really did think it was a helicopter without sounds. But yet it actually. So this is not obviously not SpaceX satellites or anything, because it was hovering over the trees for a while before it decided to start going up. And we're in the middle of the Ouachita Mountains, for crying out loud. It's not like there's some launch area. This is so crazy. Okay, I really wonder. Some of you tell me, do you think, like, what if it's all the crystals here? We have a lot of crystals under the ground here. Like, it's crazy how many areas that we're not allowed to dig. And then there's some people that have crystal mines. And then the government leases out stuff in the national forest for certain people. But there's a lot more crystals under the ground here than you might realize. And I wonder what if some of these, like, UFOs or spaceships have to legit, like, recharge, and what if these crystals help them, like, recharge, kind of like a battery, I don't know, maybe that's silly, maybe it's not, I don't know. And then another sighting we had, because that was just one big bright kind of white light, right? This other sighting we had, we were going from the Ouachita Mountains to the Ozarks, because I have family that live in the Ozarks near Branson, Missouri. And we were heading through between the Ouachitas and the Ozarks, and we travel along the kind of river valley areas. And this was probably 20 minutes southwest of Clinton, maybe. And at first I was thinking it was like a tower with the lights, because they're everywhere, these phone towers and things. And I was like, whoa, what is that? And the other person driving was like, oh yeah, I see that too. And I was like, what is that? And okay, what happened is it looked almost like satellite towers, like red and white lights. But when it blinked, it was extremely bright. And then it went off. But when it blinked a second time, there were 3 sets of red and white lights. Then they went off. Then they came back on, and there were 7. And it looked like they were flying up almost like planes in an arrow pointing, 7, getting up higher. And it was like every time the lights went off and back on, there were more. By the time the 7th one blinked, it blinked and there were 7, I was like, oh, I even said it out loud. I was like, guys, I said, I don't want to get probed. No, thank you. I don't want to get probed. And because I was like, I remember watching all these UFO shows where, like, this one couple had, like, actually chased the UFO. And then, like, they did the zoomy light thing and said, this is for the good of mankind. Come with us. We're going to take off all your clothes and stick stuff inside of you. And they were, like, freaked out. And they're like, but they said it was science to help humans. I was like, I flat out said out loud, I said, do not want you guys, I'm not chasing you. We don't want anything to do, like, I do not want you guys touching me. Like, I said that, like, I'm not wanting to be probed. And when I said that, like, the lights never came back on again. Thankfully. Like, I am very interested in UFOs. I would love to go to UFO conventions. Come on, I've got 3 planets in Aquarius. Okay, everyone uses the alien symbol for our sign, for crying out loud. But I do not want to give them the impression at all whatsoever that I want to be touched. Like, I don't want to be on a spaceship, I'll tell you that. I had, astral sleeping paralysis and astral projection a lot in junior high. And, like, the first time looked like alien ghost creepy thing. I did that in another video, a couple of videos back. And, like, I've had people even say that, like, oh, you've been abducted, that you just don't remember. That's what sleeping paralysis is. And I'm like, no. Just, no, I do not want to believe that at all. Okay. No. Please God, I hope I did not get abducted. Okay. It's the weirdest thing, because, like, I, like, am interested. I like watching the UFO stuff, and I love anything weird, I want to go to every Paracon. I want to go to every UFO con. I want to go to everything, every crypto stuff. I love it. But I don't want them thinking that I want to be taken away. I'm going to be, if I could, if I had a gun on me, I would be Dean Winchester. And I would be shooting at the fairy aliens, telling them, no, no, no. Because, you know, by the way, Supernatural, like, they owe me royalties, okay? Because, like, they stole my life. Dean has my birthday. He has a baby brother who's 6'4", just like me. His dad was a Marine, just like mine. Even his car, baby's birthday, is the same as my daughter's birthday. Jensen Ackles' real birthday is my mom's birthday, okay? And my dad was a hunter, but a real hunter, not a ghost hunter. Anyway, yeah, I think there's even more shit that they stole from my life, but that's okay. You know, at least people enjoy the male version of me better than the real me. But anyway, I know this is a goofy video, but I'm in such a good mood tonight. Right? It's gonna be Halloween tomorrow. Oh, that reminds me, an owl was hooting this evening. I went outside. I did not want to come in. I was like, oh, enjoying the peace and tranquility of the Ouachitas in this dreary, drippy fall. I mean, I am literally 100% like Celtic, Druid, Viking. Like, people say, Viking's a job. I know, but I've actually seen like Scandinavians say they like using the term. So whatever. You know, I'm Norwegian and mostly Irish and Scottish, and have some British and Wales and stuff too. Denmark too, I think. But you know, that I come from the cold peoples, okay? I come from like the places where, and it's not like uber cold. If you go to like, you know, Ireland, Scotland, or England, it's so temperate. It's not like it's that creepy, scary cold. Like, it gets colder here sometimes, which is weird. But that drippy, dreary, peaceful, like, my hair, it belongs in that. It curls. I have the Irish curls. Like, if it's in humidity, I can get curls. And then when it's, you know, I'm made for it. I love it. I can't stand having to be inside at all. I want to stay out and hike and be in nature. Anyway, but the owls, oh, that's my spirit animal, by the way. Can you tell? I've got the long pointy nose and the tiny little ears, but the big eyes, but I hear everything. Like, I hear it all. Like, you know, my mom used to call me little ears, I hear too much, and my dad used to call me eagle eyes. So that I really relate to the whole owl. And in my druid cards, it means expect a fair morrow when you hear them. Anyway, I told you the 2 UFO sightings I've seen here, but I have a little bit more I want to ask you guys about. Any of you, if I ever, it's like crickets because no one's watching this channel yet. One day, one day, maybe. I was kind of hoping, you know, I could get some input on the UFO Bigfoot connection, okay? Because we don't live far from Board Camp Crystal Mine, and they've been on like Expedition Unknown on TV and stuff, and they've had so many crazy experiences there, and Bigfoot experiences and UFO experiences. And I've heard that a lot. Like, it seems like places where there's Bigfoot, there's also a lot of UFO activity, right? What is the connection, guys? What do y'all think? The reason why I ask is because my grandparents in Mississippi, okay, this is outside of Hattiesburg and Petal. This was like Petal's grown. Back in the 70s and stuff, this was it where they lived. It's real hilly there. Just pasture, cattle and pasture. My grandfather was a veterinarian, and he was also like a farmer rancher. He had a lot of cattle. And anyway, I will tell you 2 stories about them. And these are the most down to earth people. Like, you know, I mean, my grandfather was agnostic because his dad was a Freemason Shriner, so he kind of, you know. But my grandmother was the typical really devout Christian woman. Super, you know, read her Bible religiously, loved Jesus, never touched alcohol because her dad was an alcoholic. He wasn't a mean one. It's just that, you know, it caused trouble. And it's just, you know, such a good woman. They don't make this kind of stuff up. You know what I mean? Like, I used to go spend my summers with them to get grounded. I was one of those kids where all the other kids wanted to go play with other kids in the summer. I just wanted to spend every summer with them. I used to volunteer in the veterinarian clinic with them. I love animals. I have tons of them today. Used to help them in the garden. I used to go walking a few miles every morning, bright and early, before the sun was hardly up, with my grandfather up and down the humid, muggy hills in Mississippi in the summer, because I just loved being with them so much. They had such a system, a routine. They were so constant and so stable. My grandfather was obsessed with like Nat Geo and Discovery, and I'd read all the National Geographic books and watch all the animal shows and all the history and archaeology, and I was absorbing knowledge like crazy because of these two extremely stable people. So when these two people tell me these two stories, this is not a joke. They had a UFO and a Bigfoot story. Now, the Bigfoot story they never saw, but my grandfather believes to this day that's what it was. And here's why. They had this dog named Prince. And this dog would chase cougar, it would chase bear, because a lot of people don't realize that they do have bear in the South, a black bear, a swamp bear a lot of the time. Places in southern Louisiana, Mississippi and stuff, you have black bear, and even though they can be kind of pretty up here in the Ouachita Mountains, usually they're really ugly looking in the South in the swamps because they get caked up with mud and stuff, and they're kind of like mangly, but I think they're still cute. But anyway, this dog has chased all of these types of animals. Not afraid of them. Not afraid of them. And one night, my grandfather heard this god-awful scream. Not the scream of a cougar or a bobcat. We know what those sound like, okay? We know they're creepy. I come from hunters and outdoorsman type people. This is not a normal sound. This was almost like what you would imagine the loudest, highest pitch, like almost like an ape or a woman hoot that's extremely long and hollow, and traveled a very long way. And when he heard that, he wanted to go see what it was, Anyway, he went to grab a lantern and he asked, Prince, hey, come with me. That dog would not leave the house. Wouldn't leave it. Would not even walk out the front door. Wouldn't go. My grandfather's like, come on, quit being stupid. Come on. He had his rifle and he's like, let's go check it out, That dog didn't, he was shaking. That dog was shaking. Like it was peeing itself and went and hid in the bedroom. Wouldn't come out. That scared my grandfather. He did not. He's like, you know what? We're staying in the house tonight. Lock the doors. Did not leave. Well, the next day he decided to go check it out. And he said in the barn, before he even got in good, it had this god-awful smell of death. Here some people say they smell like skunk or sewage or different things. He said it just, and you gotta remember he's a veterinarian, and he knows what death smells like. It's nasty, right? It's bad, like rot death. He said it smelled like death, and it was bad, and it was strong. He went into the barn and he flat out saw where something massive had made a nest to sleep in. Huge. Had taken all the hay and stuff for the cattle and had sprawled it out and made a big, nice, cozy nest to sleep in. Anyway, this is what my grandfather told me. He said he really didn't believe that thing had any intention of living there or staying there. He thinks it was passing through, migrating. He said he thinks there's probably been a lot more Bigfoot in the South, but they're migrating to safer locations because of the humans encroaching in the country more and more. And, they're probably having a hard time communicating and meeting up with other family members and stuff like that. He thinks it was just migrating. And he always had an interest after that in watching some of these, Bigfoot stories. And most of them were all based out of like Washington and stuff, in the Northwest. And I had no idea there were so many Bigfoot sightings until, I know I had seen one when I lived in Northeast Texas. But, out here, like there's Bigfoot hunters out here everywhere in the Ouachitas. There's Bigfoot, like what do you call it, silhouettes, like it's so cute. Like people put like Santa hats on for Christmas and stuff, and they're just everywhere. People are Bigfoot happy out here in the Ouachita, so obviously they're out here. Maybe a lot of them that were in the South at one time did migrate up, you know. Anyway, the other story from my grandparents is a UFO. And I agree with what a lot of people have said. Even my grandparents thought, well, it may not have been a UFO. What if it was like a government experiment? You know, I mean, like even like, you know, X-Files hinted at that a lot. Like we don't know what is government experiments and what is aliens and what is a mix of both, right? And they thought if it was a government thing, it was top secret and no one knew about it. But it was definitely what you call a UFO. And this was in the 70s, and my grandparents were getting groceries out of their vehicle. And and this same dog was barking at the UFO, by the way. The same dog that would not go out that night was barking at the UFO. So it shows you how scared it was of this possible Bigfoot. Anyway, their dog started barking like crazy, and they hear it sounds like a freight train. That's how they described it. It sounded like a freight train. And imagine what a freight train in the 70s sounds like. You know, it's a huge, loud sound, right? That's the only sound they could explain it as back then. And anyway, they had come back out to grab more groceries. They hear the freight train sound. They see their dog barking. And over the sheep shed, where they used to have sheep and everything, it kind of, I don't know, it's not that far from the house, but this huge UFO that was round was hovering over their house. They said it looked like it was kind of like almost like spinning, but it was like not the whole thing is spinning. It's like part of it spinning. You know what I'm saying? But it had these lights, and the way they described it, this is the best of my memory, so I could be wrong, but I would like to know if anyone else saw anything similar, was like red, blue, and yellow or golden lights on it. And some of these lights actually even had triangle shapes on them, if not all of them. I can't remember if they all did or not, but I know they said at least some of these lights had a triangle shape of the lights, and there were 3 different color lights on this flying saucer. And then they said as they watched it for a minute, they just stood there, just kind of like, you know, watching it hover over it. And they said when it took off, it was like speed of lightning, like it just took off and just disappeared. You know, they didn't see it go out into outer space or anywhere. It just took off so fast it just disappeared. And so I'm thinking it is strange how many times you hear about UFO stories and Bigfoot stories like intersecting around the same time frame. You know, I don't know. Anyhow, anywho, I thought that would be fun to talk about. I know, you know, I was on Vic Cundiff's show couple years ago for some stuff I had seen, but I didn't really want to tell like the episode or anything because it's going to ruin it when I want to talk about my version of it, because I love Vic. He's a great guy, but you know, he's real down to earth and sees like dogman type creatures, like werewolves basically, as kind of like how people see Bigfoot, like just this flesh and blood creature. And I'm really interested in all of the variables and possibilities. I mean, that's why I want to do a show. I think about doing it tomorrow. We thought about, I don't know if the kids will want to. I kind of wanted to do a special with them, which would be cool. We'll see. Because I want to talk about hellhounds and connections to some of this stuff. Werewolves, hellhounds, dogmen, are there differences? Are they all the same? Are they different? Come on, guys. I would love to discuss this. I really would. Anyway, that's pretty much all I have, I guess. I'm sure I can come up with many more UFO stories, but that's just what I wanted to throw out there. And I am so ready to meet some more weirdos like me. Please. I love you guys. I bless you until next time.